Have you ever heard your name whispered by the trees? Not in a scary way, but soft, like they know something you don't. That's what happened to Sprunki. One moment he was curled up on his favorite cloud pillow, and the next, he heard it. A whisper. His name. 3 times. And it came from the woods no one ever goes near after moonrise. Sprunki sat up. His big sleepy eyes blinked once, twice, and then locked onto the edge of the dream meadow. The grass there didn't sway like the rest. It shimmered. And behind it, the trees? They weren't just dark. They were midnight. Nobody ever went into the night forest. Nobody ever came from it either. And yet, Sprunki felt something pull at him. Not his body, his curiosity. He slid off his fluffy bed with a soft plop. His tiny yellow body glowed faintly in the dim light of the dream lanterns above. 1 blink. 2. The pacifier in his mouth wobbled as he tiptoed to the edge of the field. "Who's there?" he whispered. No answer. Only the breeze. And a whisper in the wind that wasn't wind at all. His name. Again. Sprunki looked back once at his cozy home in the clouds. The pillows were still warm. The sky still sleepy. But he couldn't stay. Not now. Not with his name still echoing in his ears like a question. He took 1 step forward. Then another. And then, he vanished into the night forest. The trees weren't trees anymore. Not exactly. Their trunks were tall and twisting like soft spirals of licorice. Their leaves didn't rustle, they sang. A low hum, like lullabies turned into light. Sprunki kept walking. His little eyes scanned every corner, every shadow. But there were no monsters. No ghosts. Just quiet. Quiet like snow that never fell. Quiet like a secret waiting to be told. The path wasn't really a path. It was made of old feathers, stitched together with strands of moonlight. With each step, Sprunki sank slightly, as if walking on a sleepy sigh. And then, there it was. A glow. Very faint. Very far. Sprunki paused. He could turn back. Curl up. Go home. But the forest knew something. And Sprunki wanted to know too. So he followed the light. And the night forest, slowly, quietly, began to change. The glow grew brighter. But not brighter like fire. Brighter like a thought forming in your head. Soft. Spreading slowly. Almost shy. Sprunki squinted. It wasn't a lamp. It was a mushroom. But not any mushroom. This one floated. Its cap glowed a soft blue, like the sky right before sleep. And beneath it hovered a dozen more, little floating mushrooms drifting in a circle, like a sleepy dance. In the center of their dance was a rock. Smooth. Flat. Round. Like a table made for dreams. Sprunki tiptoed closer, his soft yellow body almost invisible in the glowing mist. His eyes widened. On the stone table lay a scroll. Cold. Wrapped in a vine that pulsed faintly, like it had a heartbeat. He reached out. Touched it. And the moment he did, thwomp, the mushrooms stopped spinning. Everything froze. Then the scroll opened by itself with a soft sigh, like paper that remembered being important. Letters appeared, glowing letters, not written, but rising, forming, swirling into words. Words that shimmered and blinked and then held still. Sprunki leaned closer. He couldn't read them, but he felt them. Felt the story pressed gently against his skin, like a hug from something ancient. This is what the words said, not out loud, but inside his mind. There is a place even the dreams forget. A place where stories go when they're too sleepy to be remembered. But one secret still whispers there. And only the one with the softest steps and bravest heart can find it before it fades forever. Sprunki blinked. The scroll faded. The table disappeared. And the mushrooms drifted away like bubbles in the dark. Now the forest was different again. The leaves above didn't hum anymore, they whispered. Closer. Closer. And just ahead, barely visible through the curling mist, was a doorway. Not built. Grown. A round archway made of twisted vines and sleepy stars, pulsing softly, like it was breathing. A gate of dreams. Sprunki walked toward it. But before he could reach it, something moved in the corner of his eye. He turned. And there, floating just above the ground, was a creature. Tiny. Wrapped in silky fur the color of bedtime. Its eyes were closed, but it hovered upright, breathing slow and deep. A tag hung around its neck, woven from golden threads of starlight. It read, "Dreamkeeper, do not wait." Sprunki held his breath. Then the creature spoke. But its mouth didn't move. The words came like ripples across a still lake. "Sprunki," it said. "You are not dreaming. You are being dreamed. The forest called because it is fading. Something took its secret. Something loud. Something sharp. And if it is not returned soon, the night forest will fall asleep forever." Sprunki's pacifier trembled. He wanted to ask questions. But instead, he nodded. Because he understood. Not with his head, but with his heart. The creature opened one eye. And in it, Sprunki saw something he couldn't explain. A memory that wasn't his. A tree crying. A bird with no song. A pillow turning to stone. "Go," the dreamkeeper whispered. "Find the echo tree. The secret hides there. But hurry. The silence is spreading." Sprunki looked at the glowing archway. It didn't scare him now. He stepped through. And the world tilted. Sprunki didn't fall. He floated. Through the archway, the world didn't drop or spin, it simply turned into something else. The ground below wasn't earth. It was soft, like folded blankets. The trees didn't have bark, they shimmered, like they were made of old lullabies. And the sky? The sky was upside down. Stars hung beneath him like sleepy fish in a glassy pond. The real sky, if you could call it that, was above, dim and velvety, scattered with drifting dream balloons. Sprunki let out a slow breath. Not from fear. From wonder. Everything in this new part of the forest felt like it was made to be gentle. Even the shadows wore socks. He started walking. The ground beneath his little yellow body puffed slightly with every step, releasing tiny clouds of lavender-scented sparkle dust. Around him, fireflies blinked slowly, their lights shaped like musical notes. Some of them buzzed softly, humming unfinished lullabies. But the forest was not empty. Shapes moved at the edge of the path. Not creatures exactly, more like forgotten feelings. A swirl of embarrassment from a child who spilled juice at school. A tiny bubble of bravery from someone who told the truth. A flicker of joy, dancing alone under a pillow. Sprunki blinked. They didn't hurt him. They didn't speak. They just watched. And as he passed, they faded, gently, like dreams that didn't mind being let go. Then the path stopped. Ahead stood a tree. It was not big. It was not glowing. It was quiet. Too quiet. Sprunki walked up to it. Its bark was silvery gray, like crumpled paper. Its branches hung low, and on each one were wind chimes. Dozens. Hundreds. But none of them moved. He stepped closer. There, carved into the trunk in spiraling letters, was a name. Echo Tree. This was it. This was the place the Dreamkeeper had whispered about. Sprunki looked around. Nothing seemed wrong. Nothing seemed missing. So, where was the secret? He reached out and touched the bark. Cold. Soft. And suddenly, chime. One wind chime twitched. Then another. Then. Hum. A single deep tone rang out, like the entire forest had just sighed. And then he heard it. Not with his ears. Inside his chest. A memory. His memory. Him. Asleep. Alone. Years ago. A single tear slipping down his cheek as the stars blinked above. But this time, he heard what he didn't hear back then. A whisper. You're not alone. Sprunki gasped. The wind chimes began to hum. All of them. And from deep inside the echo tree came a glow. Faint. Blue. Pulsing. He reached into the opening in the bark and pulled something out. A stone. Smooth. Warm. Alive. It beat in his hand like a second heart. And as he held it, he knew. This was the secret. Not a spell. Not a treasure. A feeling. The feeling of being remembered. Of mattering. Of being loved even when no one says it out loud. The forest had been missing it. Because it had been taken. Hidden. Buried under noise and rush and forgetting. And now, he had it. But the moment he held it, everything shook. A roar, not loud, but long, echoed through the dreamscape. And shadows began to shift. Something else knew he had found it. Something that didn't want it returned. The shadows didn't run. They drifted. Silent shapes slithered between the trees, not touching the ground, their forms constantly changing, one moment a blanket, the next a claw, then nothing at all. Sprunki didn't move. The stone in his hands pulsed brighter, as if trying to warn him. It wasn't just a heart anymore. It was a signal. The forest had felt him. And so had it. From behind the echo tree, a shape emerged. Tall. Crooked. But not evil. It looked tired. So tired, in fact, that the air around it sagged. Its form bent inward, as if the weight of all forgotten dreams sat on its shoulders. It didn't speak with words. It didn't need to. The feeling poured into Sprunki like smoke. Give it back. He clutched the glowing stone tighter. No, he whispered. The figure tilted its head, curious. It stepped forward. The wind chimes above trembled. It's too late. The world doesn't want the quiet anymore. Only noise. Only rush. Only more. Sprunki shook his head. But the quiet is where dreams grow. The shape paused. For a moment, the forest held its breath. And then, it laughed. A hollow, low laugh that sounded like forgotten promises and dusty shelves. Then let them grow in silence. Alone. Unheard. The shadows rose. Sprunki's eyes flicked to the branches above. The chimes jingled softly, nervous, unsure. The pacifier in his mouth wobbled, but he didn't back down. He did something else instead. He hugged the stone. Tightly. And whispered into it. You matter. I remember you. The stone flared. A light burst outward, not bright, but warm. Like the inside of a favorite blanket. Like the glow of a nightlight when everything else feels big. The shadows recoiled. The shape staggered. And then, from everywhere, they came. Memories. Children's whispers. The first laugh after a long cry. A hand reaching for another in the dark. All of them spiraling through the trees like shooting stars of feeling. The chimes above rang in wild harmony, not chaotic, but joyful. Awake. The forest was remembering. And the shape? It faded. Not destroyed. Not banished. Just, at peace. Because now it knew the secret had been found. Not hidden. Not hoarded. Shared. Sprunky stood in the center of the glow, eyes wide, breathing slow. The stone in his hands had stopped pulsing. Because it was no longer a secret. It was now part of the forest again. He placed it gently into the hollow of the echo tree. The tree sighed. A real sigh. The bark smoothed. The chimes quieted. And from deep within its trunk came a whisper. "Thank you." Sprunky smiled. Not a big smile. A soft one. The kind you only wear when the world feels right again. Then the forest shimmered. The sky flipped. And Sprunky felt the weightlessness return. The world pulled him upward. And he let go. Sprunky blinked slowly. He was back. Not in the night forest. Not quite in his cloud bed either. He was floating gently through the dream sky, wrapped in a soft ribbon of starlight. Around him drifted the glowing memories of the forest, fireflies made of laughter, leaves made of lullabies, and wind that smelled like warm cookies and bedtime stories. He wasn't afraid. He wasn't even curious anymore. He was full. Full of something he couldn't name, but it made his chest feel warm, like someone had just whispered, "You did good." Below him, the clouds parted, revealing his little sleep nest, still puffed and waiting. The pillows had fluffed themselves. The sky lanterns blinked slowly, casting a golden glow over everything like a sleepy smile. He floated down. The moment his soft yellow body touched the bed, it exhaled a gentle pfff, like it had been holding its breath waiting for him. Sprunky curled up. The pacifier in his mouth wiggled once, then stilled. His eyes closed, but his mind didn't drift away. Not yet. Somewhere far beneath him, the night forest pulsed gently, alive again. Safe again. Remembered. The dreamkeeper was watching. The echo tree was glowing. The secret had been found, but more importantly, it had been shared. And Sprunky? He would dream now. Not because he was sleepy, but because dreams were worth protecting. They were soft, and wild, and magical, and real. And now, they were safe. So if you're lying in bed, listening to this right now, and your eyelids feel heavy, and your arms feel warm, and your breath feels slow, that's not just sleep. That's the magic working. That's the secret settling in. The same one Sprunky found in the heart of the forest. So let it carry you. Let it whisper to your dreams. And remember, if you love Mom and Dad, don't forget to like and subscribe. Sweet dreams. Crescent Moon.